Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be making a series of mini prints that I'm going to be selling at the last few art markets that I'm doing this year. Let's get to it. A key theme of a lot of the videos that I have filmed and recorded over the last few months have explored how my material conditions are shaping the work that I produce. I've become increasingly interested in shrinkage and what shrinkage looks like in art. In previous videos, I've explored the notion of offsetting some of the labour needed to make my art to the collectors of my art to save me money and, in some senses, create spectacle and theatre around the art that I make. But in today's video, I'm going to design some mini prints that physically address the concept of shrinkage. For a while, I have wanted to make really big work. My long-term aim in life is to sack off illustration and become a gallery artist, and this has meant that I have steered clear from making smaller prints. After all, it is really hard to fill an exhibition space with A5 screen prints. But this has created a degree of tension within my current practice where I really struggle to sell my art at art markets. My work tends to be a bit bigger, and because of that, it's more expensive because of the production costs, and that makes it really hard to compete with other stallholders. This can make art markets quite challenging. Like lots of artists, so much of my creative process is wrapped up in the fear that if I spend loads of time and loads of money making work, will anybody connect with it? And better yet, buy it. There is nothing worse than pouring your heart and soul into a project for only a few people to buy it and to be lumped with hundreds of prints that you now need to store in your studio. The nice thing about making these mini prints is that they are so small that some of the issues that I just listed no longer really matter. For instance, a smaller print means smaller pricing, which means that people are no longer priced out from buying my work. An unsuccessful print no longer takes up loads of room, and there is only so much time, energy, and detail that I can pump into a very tiny print. Now that all that has been said, let's get designing. During the pandemic, life became very digital, and whilst people were harping on about NFTs, the metaverse, and artificial intelligence, I became increasingly interested in the art produced during the first few hundred years of feudal Europe, and later in the arts and crafts movement. I've played with feudal aesthetic for some time, and I want to continue to keep exploring this as part of my visual language. I recently read Yanis Varoufakis' book, Techno-Feudalism, which argues that capitalism is no longer the dominant economic model, and has since been replaced by cloud capital, a model where users pay service providers rent to use their products, and in turn, service providers make money from the data generated by users. This relegates users to the position of digital serf, and reinstates the feudal system. If good art is a reflection of the time in which it is made and the current economic system we now live in looks lots more like feudal Europe, then maybe the art needs to look like a reimagining of feudal art. I often struggle to come up with ideas for prints, but I found it really helpful with this project to play word association to come up with ideas. So for instance, in this series, I started with a horse. A horse is ridden by a knight carries a sword, the knight fights for a king lives in a castle, a king wages war, soldiers die, so on and so forth. This technique has been really handy in building a collection of prints that are all related to each other. I decided that the best and most efficient way to print these prints would be to load all of the designs onto a single sheet of paper, and then once they are all printed, I then can cut them down and package them ready for the remaining art markets I have on this year. If you're in Glasgow this weekend, I will be tabling at Glasgow Print Fair. Otherwise, you can catch me at Brighton Illustration Fair on November the 8th and 9th. Be there or be square. Working at this scale has been really tricky. The smaller the artworks you're printing, the harder it is to get the registration nice and tight. While some artists that I work with, namely my partner Lizzie Lomax, benefit from a loose registration, I feel like my own work doesn't benefit so much. I find there is an interesting tension with screen printing, where you want each artwork to be perfectly printed as if it was digitally printed, and yet sometimes it's those imperfections that make something feel handmade and human. I like this tension a lot, and I think there is room in my practice to play with looser registration, just maybe not on a print that is the size of an Instax Mini. Here are the finished mini prints. I hope you enjoyed hearing a bit about the thinking behind them. If these prints sell well, I'm hoping to continue to make some smaller prints, as making them has been really liberating. If you'd like to grab one of these prints, you'll have to come to one of the art markets that I'm tabling at in the coming weeks. I will eventually get these loaded up onto my website, but I'd like to continue to prioritise selling my art in person, as it generally is just quite nice to meet the people that want to buy it and collect my work. That's the video for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!